to receive the report of the Corporate Governance Committee, Terms of Reference Working Party. And I think, Karen, are you leading on this? Thank you.
Thank you. The subgroup working party met last week to review the terms of reference. It was a really useful, positive meeting. We've taken the model terms of reference, which are provided by CIPFA, and have compared those to our existing terms of reference. And we did identify that there were a few areas which weren't covered by the CIPFA terms of reference. And we have decided to include those as a separate section on the bottom of the terms of reference. So you will see there's an additional section added for constitutional conduct and regulatory arrangements. And we've included in there the duties which CGC normally have responsibility for within HDC. And there is no other committees where they would rightfully sit at the moment. So we've included those as part of the terms of reference. Other than that, the terms of reference are consistent with those proposed by CIPFA. Any questions for anyone?
Those questions on the terms of reference update? Councillor Cadbury.
Thank you. So my question is just, it says the report to follow. So are we going to have that report to have a look on it before?
So you will have received the report before the meeting as a separate agenda, part of the agenda pack. So any questions on the ratified terms of reference? Councillor Jennings, anything? No? Happy to. Fine. Okay. If we have no questions, then we will move to a vote on it. Both of tonight's agenda items require multiple votes, so we have to go through the formalities of the proceedings. So you'll have to bear with me on this and cast your votes according to the schedule that we have. So I'm going to read out each recommendation in turn, and I will require you to vote on each of these as we go through. So the first one is to endorse the variation to the terms of reference of the Corporate Governance Committee. Can I see all those in favour of that? So that's unanimous, thank you. The second recommendation is to endorse the proposal to amend the committee's membership as detailed in paragraph 2.1. So you will see the recommendation to amend the membership of the committee. Are you all happy with that recommendation? Can I see all those in favour? Unanimous once more, thank you. And thirdly, the recommendation is that the terms of reference of the committee be reviewed on an annual basis to ensure they remain current. All those in favour of that recommendation, please. Thank you, councillors. And that is the three recommendations for this agenda item, so thank you for supporting those. So we move on then to agenda item 3, which is the LGA Governance Peer Review Challenge Feedback Report, which we also will have received as a separate part of the agenda pack. This is to receive the feedback report from the Chief Executive detailing the LGA Governance Peer Review Challenge Feedback Report. And the Chief Executive has been the contact officer on this. So, Caroline, am I right? You will be speaking on this in her stead. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, you'll recall we originally invited the LGA peer review team in March last year to look at the function of internal audit, which they did, and they produced a report with 17 actions on there. It's normal for a peer review for the team to come back and assess progress against that. And that was a visit that we had on the 28th of February, with the team having done a fair amount of work before they arrived then. And they interviewed a considerable number of officers and members during that time as well. The report, which is appended, has noted that we haven't yet completed the 17 actions that we had from the original report, although they did note that we've made considerable progress, and they noted a change in the culture of the organisation as well. They have given us a further 5 actions to undertake, which are detailed in the report, and we are asked to update those, well, to complete those actions before we have the governance review, the new peer review coming in May. So the appendix shows the progress that we have made on those 17 actions. The ones highlighted in red are the ones that we have still complete. The ones highlighted in green are the ones that we have completed already. And I can update on progress on those, the ones in red at the moment. So action 1 from the review last year was for us to do a skills training, skills matrix, assessing the training needs of this committee. You'll all be aware of the sterling work that Councillor Harvey has been undertaking in getting you to complete all your matrix. And we are almost there on getting everybody to complete those. So I will be feeding back to each of you just to check that I have correctly interpreted your skills and scored them appropriately. But that we should have that complete by mid-May when the LGA team come back. Terms of reference was also an action for us to follow up on, and we have just completed that action, so that will be turning green very quickly. We were asked to consider the review of the role of Corporate Governance Committee within the organisation, and again that was undertaken as part of the terms of reference review, so again we can turn that one green. Action 6 was for us to undertake a skills matrix review of SLT, and that is ongoing at the moment. We said we will wait until all the SLT positions had been recruited to. That has now happened, and the team are completing their matrix at the moment, and that will be completed by the end of the month. Go down to action 9. This links to the service register and the risk register and the creation of the audit plan for next year. That is ongoing at the moment and will be brought to the next corporate governance meeting. Action 10, conducting a risk maturity assessment. That is ongoing at the moment. We now have all the service risks updated for the year, so we are undertaking an assessment of those. Action 12, a calculation of the auditor's chargeable time. That again is something which is required for the audit plan. It's being undertaken at the moment. I have a meeting to discuss it with the internal audit team on Monday, and again that will be part of the audit plan which will be presented to you at the next CGC meeting. Also as part of action 12, so I'm doing desk by skills matrix at the moment. We are also getting the internal audit team to complete the same skills audit which was issued to SLT. So that again will be completed before the LGA come in May. Action 13, internal assessment to reference available evidence to support external quality assessment. BDO, who are our ICT internal auditors, have been commissioned to undertake that review, and that report will be ready by the end of May. Action 14, we're not going to complete this one before the peer review, and that is undertaking the external review, and that's dependent upon the report from BDO, so we simply won't have time to complete that one. But we will be able to evidence that we are a long way towards having the information we need to undertake that review. And Action 15, again, we're going to be dependent upon BDO for their output on that one. This is looking at investing in data analytics, and that is going to be a wider review and require a procurement as well. So I think that's just following through on all the 17 original actions we had. And then I've linked those back as well to the 5 actions that we were given. So I think that concludes all the feedback that we were given from the report. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Karen. Questions on this agenda item, councillors? Councillor Jennings.
Thank you, Chair. In the new Action 2, which is providing immediate additional senior officer capacity, and you talk about how a resource request for the interim risk manager has been submitted and 2 further procurement roles. What sort of timescale do you expect the decision to be taken on those resource requests?
Those resource requests are going to the new ideas process tomorrow to ensure that suitable funding is available, and then I will be taking them for authority to recruit to SLT next week. As soon as that is given, then we can start the recruitment process, and I would hope to be able to get someone in as soon as possible. Just depend. No, we've got to advertise for a reasonable amount of time, so can't be turned around in a matter of days, but hopefully a matter of weeks we will have the resource on board.
Thank you, Karen. Any further questions? I have a question myself about the internal audit team and the level of detail that IA reporting is being required to include in reports going forward. Do we feel that that is understood, and more to the point, do we understood it's deliverable, given the sort of somewhat criticisms of perhaps the slight deficit in the amount of detail that has been produced to date?
So I am working with the monitoring officer on this, and I'm also liaising with the audit manager across at Cambridge City Council, who also reports into the monitoring officer, and seeking capacity from them to ensure that we have the oversight and internal audit insight into the annual reporting that's required.
Thank you. Councillor Cadbury.
I think this is just for general knowledge, or maybe to update the skills matrix. I just wanted to know the skills that is required. Is it what somebody knows for their life experience, or just for this committee? Because I just want to know whether I have to adjust what I have put on my skills matrix.
So I would say it's a combination of the two. It's how your life skills are complementing the skills that you need to be able to add to this committee. And no one is going to have completely perfect skills. But if we can identify where you feel that you have gaps in your knowledge to be able to support the committee, then we can organise the training to build that.
Thank you. Councillor Hodgson-Jones.
Thank you. Yes, I have a question with the additional the recommendation, new recommendation 3 about the capacity and status of the monitoring officer. Just wanted to seek some clarification, if I may, as to who is currently the monitoring officer and to whom does he or she report?
So the current monitoring officer is Tom Lewis, who's the head of 3C Legal Services, and he's a shared monitoring officer across all 3 councils. So he is, from our perspective, he is accountable to our chief executive.
So what that means is that the recommendation is actually that the recommendation that he reports to the chief executive is already satisfied. And it's really just a question of the capacity and status of the monitoring officer. I would have thought Tom Lewis already satisfies that, so I'm not quite sure what they're recommending.
I think the recommendation is that we verify the capacity of Tom Lewis is sufficient for the organisation.
Thank you, Karen. Any further questions, councillors? Councillor Harvey.
Thank you. Recommendation 5 mentions the training for officers and for members, and we had the presentation at the last meeting saying how many members were trained in various bits. Can we get some kind of report that just updates the committee every so often on how those are doing, how many members have been trained, just so we can keep track of numbers?
That should be possible. I'll talk with Democratic Services to get that information provided.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Any further questions, councillors? If not, then we will move to the recommendations for this agenda item, of which there are 4. So in each case, I'll need to vote on the individual recommendations. The first one is for the committee and cabinet indeed to receive the LGA Governance Peer Review Challenge Report, Appendix 1, and to note the recommendations. All those in favour of that recommendation? Thank you. And secondly, to note Appendix 2, which provides an update on progress against all the proposed recommendations. All those in favour? Thank you. And the second pair of recommendations are recommendations from the committee to council. So the committee recommends that council receive the LGA Governance Period Challenge Report, Appendix 1. Sorry, Councillor Hodgson-Jones. You're so enthusiastic about supporting the items there, that's fine. Thank you. No, I'll start again. So the first recommendation from CGC to council is that the council receive the LGA Governance Peer Review Challenge Report, Appendix 1, and note the recommendations. All those in favour, please? That's unanimous. Thank you. And finally, the fourth recommendation is that council notes Appendix 2, which provides an update on progress against all the proposed recommendations. All those in favour, please? And that's also unanimous. Thank you very much, councillors. And that concludes the business of the meeting tonight. So thank you very much for your time and have a good evening. Thank you.